Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome to another video. We're here today to discuss some charts. We're gonna explore a few charts today. Welcome if you are new here. My name is Hannah. I'm a Western Practical Astrologer. I make videos all about astrology. I have been doing these live readings for a good while. I would say coming on to probably 9 months or so. But yes, welcome. If you're interested in booking a reading today, it is $25 per reading. And the instructions are in the description box of how you do that. So the PayPal link is there. You must provide your date of birth, your time of birth, and your place of birth. And if you have a question, let me know that question. So try and just fill that information in a little text box when you're sending over payment. And like I said, it is $25 per question. Okay, we're stripping it back. We're just having one offering. Thought that would be much easier. And hello to Gabby. Yes, Gabby, have your information. Thank you so much for booking. You're going to be the first person then, and I will answer your question. Thank you. And hello to Josh. Welcome. I think I've been to Georgia before. Savannah's in Georgia. Is that right? I remember I visited Savannah. It's a beautiful, beautiful town. But yes, welcome to you. And Ace, is it ACE? The draconic charts, I'm not doing those today. That was something that I offered last week, but we're just keeping it more on with one, okay? Just the one option today. But thank you though. Hello to Mashikia. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You said that you started taking melatonin. Oh, let me go up here. Sorry. Ooh. You started taking melatonin because you're 51 and you were not sleeping great, and you have Neptune in the 6th opposite Moon in the 12th. Also, it's really, really helped you. I'm pretty sure other members, other viewers of the channel have been talking about melatonin in the past. So getting good feedback about it, maybe something to try myself perhaps one day. But I'm glad to hear that your sleep is a lot better. I suppose with it being Pisces season right now, sleep is highlighted. Hello to Aries by Sun Virgo. Your chart is everything. We're all currently going through a life path 8. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a year. Oh, you have a life path 4, sorry. 8. My apologies. You have a life path 4, is that what you're saying? I'm getting all jumbled because we're currently going through a year 8 as a collective, and then I was getting them mixed up. But thanks for sharing anyway. And Josh, you said that Savannah is here. Okay. It's a big art town. Cool. Okay, so we're going to start then with Gabriella. And I'm just going to share my screen. So Gabrielle, my apology, or Gabriella, is it? Let me double check. Yeah, Gabriella was right the first time. So I'm just going to share my screen with you, share the chart. Okay. So Like I said, then, if you would like to book a reading with me today, you can do so. The link is in the description box. It is $25 per reading. And of course, you can ask me a question, but you do need to make sure that you're putting in your birth information. I need your time of birth, place of birth, date of birth, all that good stuff. All right, so Gabriella, let's get into your reading. So about the eclipse. Okay, how will the eclipse on the 25th of March affect you? So we're going to be getting into that question for you. And also we have Marcus. Thank you for booking. I've got you booked in, Marcus. I'm just taking down your information. The best option for me is to try and get everyone in first, and then we go. But let's see. And then, of course, if you're waiting a while, do not worry, because your reading will be here. I keep the reading up, so then you can view it as many times as you need to, as many times as you want to. So Marcus, thank you. And Marcus, do you have a question at all? Do you have a question you want to ask? Yeah, so Vincent, thank you for sharing that information. It's just for a reading. You need to follow the instructions in the description. Okay, so you book via the link in the description. And then that's where you put your birth information, any questions you have. And also, if you don't have a question, it's totally fine. I'll still read your chart today. Radio. So, as you can see here, we have Gabriella's chart. So I am going to take a look at your chart, Gabriella, and then answer your question. All right, so you want to know then about this eclipse coming up on the 25th of March. Now, the interesting thing for you is the fact that you have Libra in the 4th house in your chart, right? And the lunar eclipse is going to happen at 5 degrees. So this lunar eclipse is essentially going to activate this 4th house for you. Now, we got to take this a step back and think about what's been happening in these houses for you too. Because, I mean, there have been eclipses in both Aries and Libra over the past year or so. Things really were kickstarted during Aries season. Well, it was at the very, very end of Aries season with that 29-degree solar eclipse. So what I want to do is I just want to fast forward a little bit here to the next eclipse. Let me just get my dates. And then I will explain in layman's terms, what we're getting at here. Okay. Okay, so there was a solar eclipse then in Libra, and that was on the 14th of October, and that was 21 degrees in your 4th house. All right, so basically, what's been unfolding for you, Gabriella, is these real significant shifts and changes to do with these family life matters. Okay, so thinking about family, home, emotional security, your emotional needs. But then at the same time, we're thinking here about your vocation, your life's path, your life's work, your professional life too. And with the North Node being in Aries, transiting that 10th house for you, there has been what feels like a mighty push, right? A mighty push to want to get things moving, to make something of your own, to really establish yourself, to establish your leadership abilities, to be recognized for your leadership abilities as well, there when it comes to the likes of career and your profession. And at the same time, you have been going through your Chiron return now. That would have been much, much more impactful for you a few years ago. But with this Chiron return, this is quite a significant time in that this is about you really looking at and addressing your wounds. So any sort of wounds, aches, insecurities, any rejections to do with leadership. So I feel as if this is you breaking out in a lot of ways, or coming to terms with what it is that you're passionate about, and coming to terms with your ability to assert yourself, right? Because there could have been many insecurities with respect to self-assertion there, especially when you were growing up, when you were younger, right? So we're here, but we're coming to the lunar eclipse, and that is going to happen then on the 25th of March. And what I'm finding interesting about this one is, so the eclipse is going to conjunct Uranus there in your fourth house. There is a 5-degree orb, so this influence that I talk about, it may not be as strong, as potent, but I would still say there's some significance to what I'm about to mention. So I think some significance to this could be that you feel like this jolting energy, this rush of energy, this excitement perhaps, this kind of feeling of, what am I doing? How am I holding myself back? What would I like to change? How would I like to grow? What is no longer serving me when it comes to family and home and your inner world as well? Thinking about the way you react to things, the way you deal with things emotionally, right? So there could be major changes in this regard. And what I also find quite interesting is the fact that, so you actually have this kite. So there is a kite aspect pattern in your chart. So we see this from there's Pluto retrograde in Virgo. Then there's the grand trine here between Pluto retrograde, Mars in Capricorn, and Saturn in Taurus. So this grand Earth trine suggests to me that you are a highly ambitious individual, right? You're self-sufficient, self-reliant. You know how to get the job done, and you can really commit yourself and focus. But you see, what we also notice then is how there is this Venus energy in Pisces creating sextiles to both Mars and Saturn. So there's also these gifts and these talents to do with the likes of art, beauty, your creativity, thinking about even teacher positions, or thinking about how you convey a message, how you share information, how you distribute information in a way in which you make sure that you consider the bigger picture. And perhaps you are someone who, you have studied a lot, you tend to absorb the information that you learn. And when you really understand something, it sticks with you, especially if there is like an emotional connection with it. But you see, the thing about this is there is that opposition to Pluto. And then, as you were also saying in your entry form, there is the Pluto square to the sun. So I think that this eclipse could be quite eye-opening, in that you're going to be pushed out of your comfort zone. You're going to be challenged. There could be some type of renewal, a rebirth to do with your mindset, like your mindset toward your gifts, your mindset toward what you have to offer. I just have a feeling that you possess so many gifts in this regard, but it's how you see them and view them from within yourself, right? I feel like a lot of this is to do with self-belief. A lot of this is to do with your own like confidence in your abilities. And perhaps this is also where we notice with Chiron and this Chiron return and how much you've sort of been cracked open. It's almost like the eclipse, of course, the sun is going to be in Aries, right? The eclipse is going to come along and it's going to crack open the ego, and it's going to force you to look within and to see, where have I been holding myself back? Where have I been missing out on opportunities because there is this part of me that refuses to really like see my worth and my abilities and what I can actually do and what I can bring to the world. So it could be quite an eye-opening time for you, Gabriella. One more thing before we move on to Marcus is I want to mention for you, Gabriella, with you being 52, right? This means that the fourth house has been activated for you. So it's an interesting one because for the past year, because of course, you know, you're going to be coming 53 on the, so you're going to be coming 53 this April, right? And so that means the fifth house will be activated. But with you being 52, it's essentially been a year where these themes that I mentioned, you know, to do with family and home, they have been very much highlighted. But it's more so about how you are separating yourself as an individual from past situations, right? From the chaos, from the kind of chaotic feelings and decisions that perhaps had you sort of turned on your head or had you sort of caught up in a, you know, like this tornado kind of thing, you know, with Uranus being there in the fourth house. So to me, it just seems like reinventing yourself and how it is that you separate yourself as an individual from your family, from your past. Keeping in mind the South Node has also been transiting your fourth house, and that's largely to do with the past. Okay, so that was yours, Gabriella. Thank you so much. We have, let me see. Okay. Okay, brilliant. So we have another reading. So this is from Jessica. Thank you, Jessica, for booking. And thank you, Gabriella. I hope that you find your reading to be helpful. I'm just getting your information. Excuse me. I also want to mention that these are quick readings. And if you would like to book just a more in-depth, more thorough reading with me, if you want, you know, if you want to go into more detail, if you want more time to explore certain themes and areas, you can book a reading with me via hannahselsewhere.com. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, thank you, Jessica. All right, so we're moving now on to Marcus, and then Jessica, you will be after Marcus. Right. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let me see. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen. Thank you very much as well to Fabiola. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I've got you booked in as well. Just going to take note of your information. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Fabiola. Right. So, Marcus. Yeah. Okay. Oh, come out of there. Right. So I'm going to share my screen. And let me just see here for others joining. So every day, T, in the queue, we have 3 people in the queue so far. And if it takes a while to get to yours in this session, do not worry, it'll be up. You can view it as many times as you like. And thank you to others who are joining. Perfect, Jessica. Yes, thank you. I've got your information successfully. Yep, thank you. Brilliant. Yes, no problem. Got it, Jessica. Okay, and Fabiola, yes, perfect. Okay, so we're moving on to Marcus now. So Marcus, you don't have a question there, but I'm still going to read your chart. All right. So just give me a moment so I can have a bit of a look over it, and then we will begin. Okay. So for you, Marcus, this is certainly an interesting chart. It possesses a lot of intensity, that is for sure. And I would also suggest when it comes to you that you prefer to spend a great deal of time alone, and perhaps throughout your life's path, your life's journey, it has actually taken you quite a while, to get comfortable with being alone. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you have the North Node there in Libra. and then the South Node is in Aries. So it seems as if where you're coming from is this place of continuously being a doer, continuously show people at work, taking on leadership roles, or being the one who, in a way, single-handedly faces problems and sorts out problems, right? So being this dedicated problem solver for other people, for coworkers, colleagues. But in my view, what I'm picking up on here from this is you getting to a point where you need to sort of step back and more so focus on what your emotional needs are. But here's the thing. You have this Libra stellium. So there is this huge cluster of planets in one sign. Like there is such a focus then on this one sign, which is Libra. So, I mean, you've got Pluto and Mercury the same degree. You've got Moon and the North Node the same degree in Libra. So the way I see this is you being this person inwardly, like on the inside. You're someone who is striving for balance and harmony and peace in your life. This could be, for example, trying to release any emotional stress, trying to kind of identify any blockages or anything that's overpowering or is holding you back, from feeling more secure or feeling more emotionally regulated. And so I think for you, a big part of your life's path has been that of a spiritual path, right? Getting right with your own sense of self, but maybe also thinking here about your relationship with a higher power. It could be suggested, for example, that you consider yourself to be a pretty religious person or a spiritual person. You could just say, a spiritual person in this way. We could even throw into this the religion side of it, because Jupiter is in the ninth, Mars is also in the ninth. But hey, you know what? This could also be suggested that there's some sort of, how do we say, like an inner turmoil when it comes to your beliefs, when it comes to your relationship with something bigger than yourself, a higher power, for example. But the reason why I'm saying this is because of those squares. So there's the squares between Cancer and Libra. So yeah, I feel like this is really this journey of having to go within and having to make sense of what you really need, and being able to even separate yourself as like a person who can be on your own and be happy with that, to be sort of content in that space. But then again, the 12th house can also be this house of great fear and phobia and delusion too. So could it also be suggested here, Marcus, that there are much deeper themes at play, right? Even with Pluto being a part of this, there could be some sort of like traumatic experiences that you've went through, especially traumatic experiences related to the mind, your ways of thinking. Could be that you've reached these real breaking points, like really stressful breaking points. And maybe that is also why you've had to get right with yourself, because of, health, right? Health related matters. And it could also be that there's a great deal of fear, like fear of really getting close to other people, fears to do with commitment, fears to do with cooperation, fears just to do with relationships and partnerships, right? And I feel as if that is another part of this North Node story for you. It's sort of being able to see, what is it about yourself that holds you back from being able to relate or connect, but yet there is a big part of you that is seeking that. But here's the thing about it is Venus, which is the dispositor of all of that Libra energy, that is in Virgo and it's in the 11th house. And right now, Marcus, The 11th house is activated for you. So you are 46. So the 11th house is this house of activation where what's been coming up for you since your birthday is, well, matters to do with relationships and the particular sort of views that you have toward relationships and any improvements you want to make when it comes to friendships and groups and so on. But hey, here's the other thing about the 11th house. It can look at industries, companies, organizations. It can tell us something about our career path and our vocation. So especially with you having Venus, so the ways in which we earn money are located via Venus. This could be where there are certain services right now that are coming up in your life and you're questioning your sort of dedication toward those services, or you're questioning your dedication towards certain organizations. I mean, with all the Libra and the 12th, you see the deeper layers, right? You are able to dive deeper into people's true intentions and where they're really coming from, any hidden agendas. You can suss people out in this regard. I mean, you do have a Scorpio rising, which certainly adds to what I am saying. And then even Mars being the chart ruler for you in Cancer, there is that intuitive piece. There is that sort of reading the vibes of others, so to speak. And yeah, being really quite direct and honest about what you see, and really paying attention to those feelings, those like intuitive pings that you get. But still, the Venus and Virgo, I feel, shows that it suggests to me that there is a sense of dedication toward groups, friendships, and teams that you do truly align with. You're very particular and honest about anything that isn't working as well. So I think with Venus being in Virgo, this is what we're noticing. It's these themes essentially that have been coming up for you since your birthday. And the last thing that I want to mention for you, which I wanted to sort of start off with, but we went in a different way, is the fact that the eclipses are happening right now. I mean, we have the eclipses happening in Libra and Aries. So the South Node's actually in Libra right now. So you're going through this nodal opposition. And then, of course, Chiron is also there with the North Node in the 6th house. So I can't help but think that the past year or so has been a way for you to slowly transition, maybe more toward the work stuff, maybe more toward the co-worker colleague stuff, and having to really figure out, like, what is it about those areas that you need to confront, or that you need to face, or that you would like to face, so that you can live a more sort of balanced lifestyle. But I think this is about the real significant shifts that are happening for you on a deeply subconscious level. And that, to be honest with you, could be very, very uncomfortable. It's almost like the past year, there was a lot that's been coming up to the surface, a lot that you've really had to sit with in terms of people pleasing, in terms of missed opportunities, in terms of, times whenever you didn't say the thing out of fear or stress, etc. So the lunar eclipse in Libra coming up, that could be another activation point. It will add more to this story for you, even that will make a square to Jupiter in the 9th house for you. So I feel like there's a release coming up for you to do with your beliefs. We're talking about the kind of the inner turmoil to do with beliefs and stuff like that. This could be another shake, essentially. Thank you very much to Marcus. Okay, so we have Emily has joined. Thank you very much, Emily. And we also have Mariah. Mariah, thank you for joining. So I'm just going to take your information down, and then next in line is Jessica. Okay, Emily. Thank you, Emily, for booking. Then we have Mariah. Oh, the eclipse is happening on your birthday, Mariah. That's interesting. Okay, so we have Jessica next. I'm just going to type in your information. Thank you very much. Oh, we also have... Okay, we also have Simi or Simai. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I ever do mispronounce names, I do apologize. But is it Simai? Let me see. Thank you for booking. Hello, openings. Welcome to you. Oh, my apologies. It's actually for Sarah. My apologies. It's for Sarah. Okay. Birth information. Yep. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. So yes, I am now going to enter Jessica's information. Yeah. Yep, that's the one. Yep. Okay. So, time. Okay, perfect. Okay. Thank you, Sarah. Oh, hi, Danielle. Hi, hi, hi. And it's okay. Yes. What is it? See me. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. And perfect. Thank you. Yes, Danielle. Oh, awesome. Yes. I hope you enjoyed the conjunctions video. I really enjoyed making that. I hope you find it to be helpful. Ah. Okay. So Jessica, is Jessica here still? Is this your chart, Jessica? It's just with the location. I hope I got the location correctly for you. Hello to Becca. Welcome. And hello to hello to Fran and White Wings and Flora. Hello to you. Hi, Sarah, as well. Thank you for joining. Oh, great, Danielle. Okay, perfect. I'll have a look. But yes, I'm just wondering if Jessica is still with us. I hope I did get the birth and location incorrectly. I know it's in Indonesia. I can even just Google it myself a second just to make sure. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead then with Jessica's. Yeah, so I typed in the town that you said in your entry form, located in Indonesia. Whenever I was typing in the different variations of the places you mentioned, the one that I've chosen is the one that came up. Okay. Okay. So, Jessica, your question is to do with it's to do with your confidence, right? Your confidence and how that's related to your creativity. And you want to know as well, is your chart an artistic chart? So, there's a few things that stood out to me about your chart. The first thing is the fact that you have this Taurus rising and Venus, then, which would be the chart ruler. Venus is home there in Taurus in the first house. So, what I'm picking up on from this is that, yes, to me, this suggests art, beauty, creativity, really, really having a love, a deep love for being creative and artistic. You were saying there about with painting, and that's, to me, the painting piece is very Taurus. To me, this suggests just how much you want to make your creations like visually appealing and beautiful. But there's also something very soothing about your art, I think. I think when it comes to art and your creativity, these help you relax. They help you get into this comfortable place, right? A really comfortable place where, oh, okay, perfect, Jessica. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. That's good. So I'm going to continue. Yeah, so there's something comforting about them. And I also see this as the potentialities of you making money from your creations and how this is like a journey, right? When it comes to planets that are in the first house can tell us so much about our life path. They can tell us so much about our goals and our aims. So to me, I think that you possess these aims and these goals related to your creations, right? And what I also want to mention is the stuff that you said about in terms of being critical of your paintings. You've got Mars there in Virgo in the fifth house. So when we think about the fifth house, firstly, it can point toward our hobbies. It can point toward what we do during our spare time. So in my view, it's almost like what you do in your spare time is you refine, you focus on what it is that you can do to improve your crafts, right? There's something crafty about this in terms of what you make, right? Virgo can be this sign, kind of like I imagine Virgo as like a carpenter. A Virgo can make things from scratch, and Virgo also wants to be able to see how things function, how they operate. So, in my view, this is you also possessing the knowledge and the research. Like there's the research behind what you're doing. You don't just I think there is a part of it where yes, there's the comfort and there's the passion and there's the love, but there's also the part of it where you want to really perform at your best. And you're going to perform at your best by making sure you know the system, by making sure that you know how things are built from the ground up. And it's the little tweaks that you make, right? It's those little refinements that you do continuously and continuously. But of course, with Virgo, with any placement where Virgo is, there's the criticisms. There's the criticisms. And we also throw into the mix Chiron and Leo. So Chiron is in Leo, and this can suggest some type of wound to do with confidence. Perhaps this wound was, it's more so linked to childhood, it's more so linked to the family, it's more so associated with your emotional well-being. But again, younger years, we're thinking more along the lines of childhood here and how feedback, perhaps feedback from family, feedback from loved ones, relatives, even close friends, people you trusted, that feedback from other people, maybe not being like the kindest, the nicest, the most encouraging, and then you could have internalized that feedback, right? So I think there's something here about this wound and about possible rejections that perhaps you are working through. And this then I think is also about how it is that you can essentially pass on your knowledge and your wisdom because of what you've went through, right? You can sort of mentor other people when it comes to their own confidence, for example. But here's the other thing about it. There's more to this, isn't there? Because there's actually a grand cross. There's a few interesting patterns in your chart. I mean, I'm pretty sure you have a mystical rectangle here, but there's only so much time that we have to really explore this. But there is the grand cross in the fixed signs. So you've got Saturn in Aquarius retrograde, you've got Moon, Pluto retrograde in Scorpio, you've got Venus in Taurus, and you've got Chiron in Leo. So I think this is quite a karmic grand cross because of the 29 degree points with Saturn and the Moon. Even Pluto and Saturn being involved suggests to me this is quite karmic, in that I think there's something here about you breaking a cycle, there's something here about you breaking a certain habit or a pattern. And I think a lot of this has to do with how it is that you radiate, how it is that you stand out within a crowd, within a group, and addressing where certain, emotional distresses are coming from in terms of this confidence stuff, the creativity stuff. And of course, the 10th house looks at our life path. It looks at who we become later on in life, who we become known for. So I think this is a real journey for you of like real healing, a lot of healing, emotional healing, especially with Scorpio being a part of it, possibly addressing repressed emotions, again, tied to the past, tied to perhaps parental figures as well, with Saturn and the moon being a part of it. Maybe this is also about you recognizing your worth, recognizing your personal power, and maybe as well seeing whenever you, in a subconscious way, rely too much on others to sort of give you that sort of feedback. It's like no matter how much people are going to give you that positive confirmation of like, you're amazing, you're doing so well. Essentially, it's like you also are working on how you build that from within, right? This is about your self-worth. This is about the Venus energy. Venus is within the Saturn decan, so there could be some limitations here. But hey, this is a process. This isn't just a quick fix. This isn't just okay, Hannah's gonna tell me this and I'm all good to go. Astrology doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. But what I can do is I can assist you in showing you where these points are. And so you have went through your first Saturn return, and I think that this is also about allowing the sort of lessons to do with the Saturn return to sit with you. And that Saturn return for you, that happened over the past couple of years or so. So I think that has to do with these themes, like these themes to do with being a part of the group, finding your sort of place within a group of people, and having more of a I suppose a commitment to something bigger than you, like to be a part of something that's bigger than yourself, but to make a difference in the world as well. But it starts with you, right? So there's more I could talk about, really, Jessica, here. Like I said, there's some really interesting aspect patterns, but just to answer your question, we can see the confidence related challenges for you. We can see them as I have described. And that Grand Cross as well, I feel, shows just, oh my gosh, whew, whenever you have like a goal, right? Especially because, Scorpio is a part of this. But yeah, whenever you have a goal, you are like focused, concentrate. That there's a determination to you, right? You can stick at something. Like when I see grand fixed grand crosses, I'm like, wow, this person is unstoppable. Like the focus cannot be shaken. But at the same time, you can become too stuck as well. And this is about seeing whenever or how you can become unstuck. And that stuckness, that stiffness, I think it relates to the inner child healing. It relates to the creativity um, struggles, right? And the self-worth. So a lot of this is to do with your own inner healing and then how that is shown outwardly. So indeed, we see the confidence stuff, and we also see that, we can see your passion for creativity, very much so, Jessica. Okay, so thank you very much, Jessica. I really hope that you find that your reading to be helpful. We're now moving on to Fabiola. By the way, if I said earlier mystical rectangle, I don't know why I'm thinking that. If I did say that, I meant to say mystical or envelope. Yeah, I meant to say mystical envelope, I think. Let me double check, actually. Let me double check my terminologies. Oh, no, it was, yeah. Mystic rectangle. Sorry, that's where I got mixed up. Oh, dear. Yep. Okay. So, Fabiola. Let's see. Yep. 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 Okay. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. So. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh. All right. Jessica, thank you very much for picking. I really hope that you find it to be helpful. Okay, thank you. Good, good. I'm glad. Take care of yourself. Thank you. Okay, so Fabiola. All right. So Fabiola, you wanted to know here about finding your voice in partnerships. Can feel like, there's like a dominant role, as if you're being dominated. And it can be really hard to let go. Okay. So, well, first things first. I want to mention that you have Sun and Mercury there, both in the sign of Cancer, and Mercury is retrograde. So this is a conjunction, right? They're both at 22 degrees. It's actually, I would say it's a very strong conjunction. And this degree, let me just double check my degrees. I'm pretty sure it's a Capricorn degree, 22. Feel that is, let me just double check. Yeah, it's a Capricorn degree. And then this is also within this Neptune decan. Okay. So when we really sort of bring all of these layers to this, I think that when it comes to finding the words, right? So finding the words, trying to communicate, I think that it can take you some time just to sort of reflect, to consider what it is that you're meaning to say, how it is that you're wishing to convey a message, to convey information. And I think as well, you can be quite an emotional communicator, right? So you're very sensitive to the feedback that you receive, very sensitive to other people's words and their reactions also to what you say, right? And I can't help but think that this is something that was learned in a way, learned maybe from your childhood, your upbringing, perhaps even your mother, the ways that your mother communicated or communicates. It is quite emotionally sort of charged. And so for you, there could be a part of it where this could be a subconscious thing, of course, but perhaps you're trying to sort of read other people's reactions, their body language. And there's a part of you, I think, that can maybe be a bit too caught up in that. And maybe a part of it as well is for protection, right? There's like a protective side to this where you're trying to protect your own, your emotions, protect your emotions. And I think as well, trust comes into this. I think actually trust plays a big role within what I'm saying because Pluto is also in Scorpio, making the trines to Cancer. So Pluto is great in Scorpio, also 22 degrees. So the 22 degrees, I mean, with Capricorn, the Capricorn influence, it's like, okay, there's some sort of limitations here. Is a slowness. This isn't to say the way you communicate, by the way, is bad. It's not to say that the way you can, or a negative thing. I think it's just that there's a punch, there's an intensity to the words that you use. But I think that with the partnership part of it, I think this is where some frustrations can happen, right? Some tensions can happen because what we want to mention about this is the fact that there's the Capricorn energy opposite. So you've got Neptune retrograde opposite, and then you've also got Uranus retrograde opposite. So this could be where there's some frustrations over independence, for some frustrations over freedom, maybe like a lack of freedom, like a denial of freedom, or like you can't really be yourself. Of course, this energy is in the 12th house, so that the 12th house can often feel like a part of us that's locked away and it's hidden, it's buried, it's hard to access. So we're seeing here these frustrations then to do with relationships and partnerships. But yet you have an Aquarius rising. And the Aquarius rising says, I want my freedom. I want to be independent. I'm an individual. And so if you ever kind of sense that there is a bit of a denial of your freedom, you can be quite quick to want to get away from that, to detach from that. But this goes much deeper, doesn't it? Because Saturn, which is the ruler of Aquarius, your chart ruler, that's retrograde, and it's in Aquarius in the first house, and then it's opposite Chiron. So the partnership side of it is where we're really going to see these, I suppose, these challenges where I think what comes into the equation is that of self-assurance, is that of confidence. There's a wound here, I think, to do with confidence. I think there's a wound here to do with asserting your own individuality, right? The Chiron energy is also in Mars Deacon. So, how you assert yourself, how you stand up for yourself within partnership, and how that is blocked, it's limited, there's resistance. To me, this is what I'm getting on an overall sense, Fabiola. I see this as people in your life expecting you to be a certain way because that's what they know. That's what they're used to, right? You think about Cancer, you think about Capricorn, it's sort of more, it's more traditional. It's more about, especially Cancer, it's more about family, it's more about the past, it's memories, it's home stuff, family stuff, right? But then whenever you step into partnership, this is where we're noticing that there are other sides to you. There are like different parts, different sides to your personality that you want to express, that you want to let out. The Leo energy in the seventh. But it's almost like those parts were denied. We even see this with the secondary progress Sun being in Leo, the secondary progress Mercury being in Leo as well. To me, it's almost like people just aren't used to seeing you in a certain light. And I suppose in this way, this is about how you evolve. This is about you growing in your development, changing as a person, reinventing yourself. I mean, you have an Aquarius rising, but the Chiron part of it, I think, says no, 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 no. We need to reject at all costs. Like, no, you need to stay in your box, right? Stay in your box. This is how things are done here. This is more of this is what we're used to, basically, when it comes to you. But here's the thing I want to mention for you, Fabiola. Pluto has entered Aquarius. Now, Pluto will re-enter Capricorn for a couple of months this year. So that will be from September until October. But come the end of the year, Pluto will be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. So this is significant for you because Pluto will travel all the way through your first house. This first house of identity, this first house of your independence, how you view the world, your physical appearance, your approach to life, your goals, your aims. So much about you, right? So Pluto is coming along and it's gonna get you digging very deep and looking at the unconscious, your unconscious drives, your unconscious motivations, your intentions, why you do things. But also, this is where we're going to see the real evolution that you're going to experience. I mean, Saturn's already in Aquarius within this critical degree here for you, and you've went through your first Saturn return. And so I think this is already unfolding. I mean, the very question itself, right? You have this awareness. It's there. You have an awareness of, why is it that I find it difficult to, use my voice in relationships? So you're catching on. It's like you can sense that there's something, actually, that there's something you want to change. But I also think that with Pluto here, there's a sense of things are going to change. Like you're gonna transform in very powerful ways, especially when that Pluto energy starts to oppose Chiron. This will be like a real cracking of the ego, a real rebirth. That's not going to be for a long time. But all of this is to say, Pluto traveling through your first house, Fabiola, it's going to be quite the eye-opening experience. So yeah, it's going to be also difficult. Pluto can be difficult. Darker themes can come into play, but I think there's also on the other side of the challenges and the real hard stuff, the ugly stuff, on the other side of that, even the pain as well, I want to mention. On the other side of it, there is personal power. There's growth. There's resilience. Okay, so that was yours, Fabiola. I hope that you find that to be helpful. So we're going to move on then to Emily. Thank you very much for booking, everyone. We also have, let's see. Okay, perfect. We have Christar. Is that how you pronounce your name? Thank you so much for booking today. Yep. Okay. Emily. So I'm just going to type in your information, Emily. And I do just want to say as well, again, Fabiola, I really hope that you find your reading to be helpful. Thank you so much for booking. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I get a lot of you who have Scorpio risings. A lot of you. I think Scorpio rising might be the rising sign that I've gotten the most readings from, at least within the live readings. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh, interesting. So, Fabiola, the 7th house is also activated for you within annual perfections there. So, these partnership situations, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Emily. Yes, Sorsha. Readings, bookings, we're still going. You can still book. So the instructions are in the description. And so you basically send it through to my PayPal. And thank you as well to Katharina for helping out there. Thank you. Becca, you say that you have a Scorpio rising. You say go us. Woo, go Scorpio risings. Elizabeth, we've got Elizabeth booked in as well. Thank you, Elizabeth. Emily is next in line, by the way. But I'm just making sure that I get everybody booked in. So I'm going to show my screen. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. There we go. Go for Emily's reading. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay, perfect. Come there, here. Okay. All right. So, Emily, you wanted to know, well, you want to know about this 10th house energy of yours. 10th house, MC, also in Leo in the 10th house. You've got Venus there at 0 degrees. Yep, critical degree. In the Sun Deacon. And then we see here that you've got Chiron in Leo at 29 degrees, another critical degree in the Mars Deacon. Okay. Interesting. So what we want to think about then when it comes to so you wanted to know about what this 10th house arena means for you. What we want to think about in terms of the 10th house is how it can be linked to, it can show us our vocation, our career path. It can also show the type of person that we're striving to become, right? The type of person that we also become known for through dedication, through hard work. It's more so tied to like our future selves. So I think that with having this Leo energy in the 10th, I think there is, oh my gosh, like a great deal of passion and enthusiasm in whatever you do. And perhaps taking on leadership positions or just being known, right? Known as the person who knows a great deal, right? The midheaven is even within the Jupiter Deacon. And that Jupiter Deacon is like, I'm a teacher, I'm a mentor, I know what I'm doing, I have the knowledge. So this is also about being respected, being known for your knowledge. Perhaps even giving off this special quality, right? Leo can be the star. Leo can stand out. Now, this isn't necessarily about creating a show and dance. Of course, we got to explore more of it, which we'll get to. But Leo can even move in ways where Leo doesn't need to prove itself to anybody. That confidence radiates from within. And especially if you have this Scorpio rising mixed in with this energy, this is very much about you knowing what you're about and not having to like prove yourself. It's more about you following your heart, following your passion, following your truth in this regard. Even with Venus being there, right? There's this potency to this 0 degree Venus. There's this power, the strength to it. And with Venus is about attraction. Venus is about beauty, art, creativity. So you then, Emily, I see this as you pouring your heart and soul into your career and having this star factor to you being actually very appealing, very attractive, people really liking you, people wanting to be around you, people wanting to get to know you, and not even really having to try, really. You just have something about you that draws people to you. And, it could also be that you're very warm, affectionate. you don't tend to sort of shy away from giving someone a compliment. And when you do compliment someone, it means something. This could also suggest that, your career, your vocation is connected in with something artistic, something creative. I was saying there about the whole show and dance stuff. It could very well be that the likes of drama or like acting or singing or performing or entertaining, these things, these roles really do captivate you. They draw you in. There's an interest, an intrigue, right? But we want to explore more, don't we? We want to look at more because, firstly, the sun is then the dispositor of the Leo energy, and it's the ruler of the midheaven and the 10th house. The sun is in Virgo, and it's conjunct Mercury in Virgo. So what does this indicate? When it comes to your vocation, when it comes to your career path, you're switched on, okay? You are someone who is perhaps considered very articulate, very sharp, witty. There's a charm, I would even say, to you. There is a charm to you. The reason why I'm bringing charm into the equation too is because Venus is making that, the orb is quite wide, but I would still consider somewhat of an influence between Venus and Mars, right? Mars is in Libra. Mars is also conjunct Jupiter. So there is this, as I say, a charm to you. There's this beautiful way that you grab people in, and you can be very likable. But yes, you're also quite witty, I think. You're not easily fooled, let's just say. You have a good head between your shoulders. Like when you make decisions, you're going to be somewhat mature, responsible. Let's even throw into the equation the fact that you have Moon in Capricorn adding to this Earth energy, right? So there is that. You even have Sun and Moon in Earth signs. So yeah, you tend to be sensible, rational. And I also think that when it comes to getting the job done, you overperform. Like you overperform, you go the extra mile, you will improve. When it comes to tasks to be done within your profession, I even see this as you working within like large firms for major companies. The 11th house can rule these areas in astrology, right? So you stepping into a position where perhaps you're the one who is in charge, you're the one who is assisting the managers or the big bosses, whoever, people go to you because Emily knows. And you know how to get the job done. You know what you're talking about, Emily. And you deliver the results time and time again. But this is where we want to bring in Chiron. Okay. Chiron is in Leo. It's actually conjunct Mercury, even the secondary progressed. Chiron is now in Virgo. Things are moving there to that secondary progressed Venus point and the sun as well. So even though you have this wow factor, this it factor, I wonder, can you be way too hard on yourself? Way, way too critical of yourself. And maybe as well, there's something about the feedback that you've received from people in previous positions. Like this could be a previous employer, for example. This could be a rejection from an old job. This could be a rejection to do with something that you really wanted to achieve in, right? I can sort of imagine this as you auditioning for a role, being interviewed for a position, and the way they treated you was just plain just disrespectful, right? And it's like you carry that wound. But here's the thing. I think there is a big karmic lesson in this. There's a release. There is a surrender in this. But there's also a part of this where you're able to take what you received there from past employers, past situations there. Take those things and then use them for good. Use them as a way to be of service. Use them as a way to like be a noble leader. Leo is noble. Leo is so freaking noble. When Leo is in its highest expression, Leo is a noble influence. So it's how you bring these qualities into your role that people notice. But again, I think there's also a part of it where it's you recognizing just how capable you are too. Okay, so that was yours, Emily. Thank you very much. Now, I just need to check here. We also have is Sorsha here? Is Sorsha in the audience? So we have next Mariah, then we have Sarah, then we have Christar, and then we have Elizabeth, and then we have Becca. Thank you, Becca. Let me just grab your details. Becca, can you, unless you've already done this, but can you please let me know? Sorsha, 2 seconds. I just need to address Becca. Becca, can you please let me know your time of birth, place of birth, and your date of birth? Oh, there it is right there. You've put it in this section. I have your question then in the box. So is that the 5th of August? I'm assuming it is because, excuse me, because you live in New Jersey. 5th August 1997. Okay. So I've got two. Yep. I've got your birth information. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Right, Sorsha. So you have put in you've put in information in the entry form. Now, are you wanting, because that's a separate thing. So basically I offer readings on my website, and one of the readings is the ask a question reading, which is 15 minutes. If you want to book that with me, that's no problem. It's just we'll need to sort that out via email. I can do that, no problem. But if you're wanting a reading now, right, with the live readings, the way this works is you send through the $25 to the link below in the description. It's the PayPal link. And then what you do in the little box on PayPal is you put in your time of birth, date of birth, your place of birth. So if you want to do it that way, that's how it works. But if you want to go ahead, with the other route with the ask a question, you can do that. And Emily, great. Oh, interesting. Yes. Well, I wish you all the best with that. That's amazing. I mean, yeah, that Leo energy, the Capricorn moon energy, very much business vibes, right? Entrepreneurial. I wish you all the best, Emily. Okay, so we're going to move on to Mariah. I'm just going to enter in your information. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Okay. No problem. Okay. Yes, that is grand, Sorsha. No problem. That works. And Becca, thank you for confirming. Brilliant. All right. So, Mariah, just gonna share my screen. Do you not, Sorsha, do you not see the link? Is it not there for you? It's just if you go into the description box, it should be there. So let me just see. I have yours here then, Sorsha, or sorry, Mariah. But Sorsha, I'll hold off. We'll see what you do then, Sorsha. But yeah, let me know. Let me know if you have any more trouble, okay? Right. So, Mariah, you want to know about career. You want to know. All right. So, you have a Virgo rising. And what is interesting here about you, then, let me just, I want to check annual perfections for you as well. We are on, yes. Okay, very interesting indeed. Yeah. So you have a Virgo rising. You're 24 years old. You're going to be coming 25 on your next birthday. All right. So with you being 24, this means that the first house, it has been activated for you throughout this entire year. So what themes come up then to do with the first house? We think about your life path. We think about your aims, your goals, your overall trajectory. And the thing is that what's been important to keep track of throughout your 24th year, it was important to really keep track of Mercury, right? So Mercury is your chart ruler, and you've got Mercury there in Pisces, it's retrograde, and it's in the 7th house. So I would say that with this position, it can suggest that what you can be rather good at is partnership. Being able to sort of pick up on the emotional cues, to be quite intuitive as well when it comes to others. Thinking about business, for example, thinking about certain deals that are made, agreements that are made, contracts that are signed. There is this sort of intuition, the sixth sense that you possess. But here's the thing, it could also be that there's hesitation. It could also be that you can be wrapped up in other people's opinions and their feedback and what they think. And you can sort of merge heavily with those opinions. So there could be some like a struggle here, but this is also about how you work on these parts of yourself and how you can maybe grow in greater confidence in this way when it comes to your own decision making. But of course, here's the thing, the secondary progress Mercury, it's actually direct, and it's also in Aries. Your sun is in Aries, Jupiter is in Aries. So here we notice that well, this is what I think anyway, you've really like came into yourself. Like you've really grown, you've really showed like this big part of you that can make decisions and can trust your own sort of initiative. And as well, you can come across as quite a positive, inspirational person, especially when you're passionate about something and your passion runs deep. Like when you're passionate about a certain subject, a certain topic that's maybe more occult like or it's more esoteric, you go all in, right? There is this strong desire to want to know more and more and more and more, right? You even went through your Jupiter return not so long ago, so that would have been about a year and a half ago or so, something like that. So that could have been quite eye-opening in that you felt inspired, right? You really felt inspired to want to maybe dig into things like astrology or the tarot, right? These esoteric subjects that I was saying, and even just wanting to learn more about your own psyche and why you do the things you do, right? So there's that, and I just wanted to mention that. So back to the Mercury stuff. So Mercury is important to follow then. It has been important to follow. Mercury was retrograde in the earth signs last year. So there was the first house activation for you, a fifth house activation, and ninth house activation. So a lot of stuff to do with meaning, a lot of stuff to do with your self-expression, your individuality, what you want out of life, your trajectory, these types of areas. And so a lot of reflection, I would say, much reflection on your part. But you see, Jupiter right now is in Taurus, and Jupiter was then activating Saturn and Venus in your chart not too long ago. Well, to be fair, I would say about 6 months ago, so that's actually not too long ago. But still, there's some significance here to do with your higher meaning, right? To do with higher education, wanting to learn more, not just learning for learning's sake, it's also applying things practically, wanting to even earn money from your teachings or wanting to get yourself to a certain point where you're qualified, right? You're really qualified when it comes to things like finances, when it comes to being more of an educator, right? A practical educator, a hands-on educator as well. Or there could be matters related to the likes of fashion or beauty or art with Venus being in Taurus, or even thinking about crafts, thinking about even like construction, engineering, these types of roles as well, because Saturn is a part of it. But you see, with Jupiter still continuing on, right? Jupiter could have brought some type of qualification to fruition, or it could have highlighted just you furthering yourself, expanding your mind in this way. Travel could have been a big part of education for you, or perhaps travel is still a big part of what you're doing right now. But it's all about the experiences that you're gaining right now. So, how does this link into career? Well, Venus and Saturn. So, for firstly, Saturn it can look at our purpose, it can look at our vocation, our career, and then Venus can look at how we earn money. So, to me, it's almost like you're in this preparation stage, or you're wanting to like really build upon your skills to improve and improve and improve. I even think that with you about to enter the second house activation, so when you turn 25, the second house will be activated. That'll be a good time for you to really focus on your skills. And those skills that you possess could very well be related to like mediating, counseling, um, partnerships, like how it is that you relate in partnership, how you negotiate when it comes to partnerships as well. Sales could be a big part of this as well, especially with Venus being the ruler of the second house there, and that's in Taurus. So I think that you would do really well within like a sales related profession or where there's heavy marketing involved. But again, I can't help but think with Saturn being a part of it, there's something about construction. It goes back to that, or maybe even working within like a government related role or within the public sector. That could be a thing with Saturn. But of course, with Saturn is more about later on in life. Your Saturn return isn't for a good few years. So I would say there is still some time to go, some maturing, some growing up here that's still being done, limitations, etc. But the last kind of thing I want to mention for you is Jupiter will enter Gemini. This is actually the first thing that came to my mind at the beginning, and then I looked up with you being 24 and there was more to this, but Jupiter is going to enter Gemini around June 2024. It will be there for the next year. You've got the secondary progressed Venus in Gemini, secondary progressed Moon in Gemini. So with Jupiter coming along in this transit position, I think this is going to showcase the expansion of all the things that you want to do, right? Exploring the many ideas. I think this is just giving yourself that time, that space to explore different avenues because, you did ask the question of what should you do in career, and I cannot but think that Mariah, there is indecision on your part, or there's this part of it where you can be restless. There's this part of it, I think, where you need something to like keep you curious, right? There's that curiosity. You need to feel mentally stimulated and like there needs to be that engagement. I think to communicate with people is so, so important to like bounce your ideas off others, to collaborate with others. And again, this is where we notice the sales part of it, like practicing a really good quality sales pitch, for example, and just how you even convey information, even using technology to a large extent as a way to maybe educate or as a way to sell products, to sell an idea to others. So yeah, I think from June onwards for the next year, that could be where opportunities opportunities present themselves when it comes to your career. And I think that suggests the sort of open-mindedness and the flexibility as well, to keep yourself like flexible and to give yourself that space to get curious, to kind of see like, oh, I'm interested in this. Oh, this as well it's something to consider. Okay, so that was yours, Mariah. There's so much more I could say. There always is. But there's only so much time we have. But I hope you find it to be helpful, Mariah. Okay. We also have Olivia joining. Thank you. So next we've got Sarah, we've got Christar, we've got Elizabeth, Becca, and then we have Olivia. Thank you very much for booking. So, Olivia, I need... Good, Mariah. Yes, I'm so, so glad. Yay. That's what we like to hear. I'm glad. Thank you so much. Olivia, if you're there, yes, Gabriella, yes, yours is at the beginning. Yeah, so Gabriella, thank you. Yours is at the beginning. So you were first, but I don't think so. You weren't here at the beginning. But if you go to the very, very beginning, yours is the first one. Yes. Okay. Thank you for picking. Yes, you were asking about the upcoming lunar eclipse in Libra. So that's good. I hope you get that okay. All right. So, as I say, Olivia, are you in the audience at all? because I need your birth information, right? To do your reading. You can always send it through to me via email if that's more comfortable for you. It is up to you. But what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to now enter Sarah's information. Aha. Oh, okay, Olivia. Thank you. So you can send your birth info here if you want, but it's up to you. You can always send your birth information to me via email. So my email is hannahselsewhere@outlook.com. Just make sure that you give me your time of birth, date of birth, and place of birth. And the question, if you have a question, make sure you involve it as well. You include it. You can also post it here, but it's really up to you what you are most comfortable with. Okay, great. Thank you, Olivia. All right, so we're moving on now to Sarah. Okay. Yep. Perfect. Right, so I am now going to share my screen. Okay, thank you, Olivia. I'm just jotting down your information. Okay, perfect. Right. Excuse me. Okay. Right, so for you, Sarah, I'm actually going to have a look at relocation stuff. So just bear with me while I grab that information, and then what I'll do go. Find here. If I go here. Yep. Here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Is Sarah? Oh, okay. Malta. All right, Malta. I was about to ask you. Thank you. And Sorsha, I'm so sorry to hear that you are having a bit of a difficult time with your account. Unfortunately, that's not something I can help you with. But unfortunately, this is the only way. That's the only available option. Maybe it's something you can, look into. Try not worry. I mean, I will be back, I'm sure. I will be back for more readings. Okay, but I do hope that you get it sorted okay. Right, so Sarah, let me see. I'm looking for Malta. Oh. Oh, go. Oh, okay. All right. So, Sarah, a lot of interesting things here, really. What I did then was I wanted to explore relocational astrology in your case because you say that you are going to be moving to Malta. And the thing that stood out to me about this trip is actually, let me just I'm grabbing another chart just to be sure. Just to be sure. I want to connect everything in. Go here. Oh, very interesting. Okay, yeah. All right, this definitely adds. Right, let me start from the beginning again. Right, so Sarah, you are going to be moving to Malta. And so I wanted to look at the relocational astrology in your case. And when we look at the map, we notice here that the sun midheaven line it's running right through Malta. It's running right through like a lot of parts of Italy as well. But yeah, it's very, very close to Malta. Let's just say that. I mean, the island, it's very, very close. So with this sun midheaven line running through this country for you, well, we want to think about how, first of all, you have the sun in Leo, right? The sun is in Leo at 7 degrees in the ninth house. What's the ninth house, right? The ninth house looks at long distance travel. And then the sun really looks at our vitality. Our vitality, I just want to say, is so much about our health. It's so much about how we look after ourselves, our well-being, our energy levels, right? So the sun here being in the ninth house to me suggests that where you feel like the most fulfilled, the most fueled, where you even gather the most purpose is by teaching, is by sharing, educating. And it's just so fascinating to me that you said moving to another country to restart teaching. So teaching is clearly something that perhaps inspires you, it gives you purpose, it gives you meaning, it's a very satisfying role for you. And of course, the sun also looks at joy. It's related to feeling good, right? Confidence, when we're even sure of our capabilities. So to me, this is like, yeah, the Malta could be a place of you're going to really radiate, right? You're going to glow, you're going to shine, you're going to express these like teaching qualities. And I do see it being somewhat more of a positive experience in this way because of how things align in terms of, okay, the sun midheaven line is there. The midheaven also looks at purpose. It's tied to our vocation. And then you do have the sun in Leo in the ninth. Even this is a night or a day chart, my mistake. This is also a day chart, right? Because your sun is above the horizon. So the sun then would be the luminary for you. The sun is comfortable in Leo because the sun rules Leo. So to me, it just suggests that where you feel like the most like yourself is whenever you are, for example, traveling, whenever you are teaching, whenever you are sharing a message with passion and there's this enthusiasm, you feel inspired. But I also see this as you gaining so much from those that you teach as well. It's also about that like exchange. It's also about how you feel whenever you are teaching and how other people get something from it. But there's more to this, isn't there? There's more to this. A couple things. So, you also have a Sagittarius rising, right? And Uranus is there. It's quite close to the ascendant. Saturn is also there. So, when it comes to the teaching stuff, you've put in the work. I mean, this to me suggests that you have the qualifications, you've done the work, and it shows. And it also shows to me that whilst there is this sort of warm, bright, friendly, somewhat like affectionate side to you, when it comes to the teaching stuff, there's also a serious side to you. There's also more of a disciplined side to you. And you want to really go the extra mile. Like you come from a place of integrity. You align yourself with your morals. This is, to me, it's like you follow your moral compass. Saturn is also in the Jupiter Decan, by the way, and you do not let others shake you from that, from your morality, right? From your faith, from your beliefs, from your truth. And what I also want to mention is that with this particular year for you, Sarah, I wanted to look at your solar return. This is fascinating because in your solar return, the sun is also in the ninth house, right? This further adds to, it's like a confirmation basically. It adds more to this story for you. And you also have a Sagittarius rising. So this does actually suggest some type of travel, right? And then Jupiter being the chart ruler for the Sagittarius rising, that's in Taurus in the sixth house within this solar return chart. And then the sixth house, of course, looks at work, looks at services. So Jupiter then is pointing toward the work stuff. So you have a Sagittarius rising natally, the solar return then also has a Sagittarius rising. So it makes it a lot more like personal, if you will. But we also want to look at a few other things, don't we? Because we want to consider Mars. So because you have a day chart, this means that Mars would be quite a challenging, like it can be a challenging position, a challenging placement. You have Mars in Capricorn and it's retrograde in your chart. And yes, Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn, meaning that it performs like Mars performs really well. There's dedication, there's discipline. You slowly, steadily like show this dedication to your work, and you're not gonna even, it's like it doesn't matter how long it takes, basically. It's all about the long haul, right? It's about planning for the future. But you see, with Mars being in this position, given with you having a day chart, it can also feel like this Mars energy is quite tense. There's some frustrations here, even with it being retrograde. There's an inner frustration to do with how you achieve your goals. This could be where there's some type of like real anger or this annoyance toward people who cut corners or toward people who are disrespectful, people who just they don't play by the rules. But maybe you say you keep a lot of that to yourself. You can keep a lot of it in, and then it can get to a point where like you absolutely explode and it pours out of you and you can't control it anymore. Now, what I will say about this is that Mars, so if we look at the secondary progressed Mars, that is direct, actually. So I would say that perhaps you are a lot more, how do we say, forward moving or direct. And perhaps even through growth and maturity, life's experiences, you have gotten yourself to a point where it's like, I am going to be honest about these unfair situations. And what I also want to mention is okay, you asked about the healing stuff, you even asked about children. All right, well, if we think about the solar return chart again, in the solar return chart, you have Mars, the midheaven, and Mercury all in Virgo in the 10th. So this could very well align with more of these like healing qualities, or more so the practices, right? And it's about the body. It's about the mind, body, soul connection, and being this person who, you can really assist people with their own healing and assist them with the things they need to do in order to release maybe tension from the body, as a way to just help them move the body. There could be these passions, these desires in this regard to really want to make a difference. I mean, you already have Venus in the 10th house in Virgo. So, and then also the secondary progressed Sun and Mercury as well in Virgo. So you're already like, I would say you're on this trajectory. You have been taking the classes, you've been doing the courses when it comes to healing work and practices. So there are these studies that you've been doing. So I just think that is sort of signifying a continuation. And the last thing to think about children, the North Node, of course, is in Aries in the 5th house in your chart. So it does seem like there is a bit of a, how do we say, like a trajectory toward that of children, or maybe that is something that, is a desire, is a goal for you. We could even notice significant changes and shifts here to do with these areas, because the eclipses are activating the 5th house of children for you, and then also the 11th house of groups and networking and so on. So things could very well shift and change basically over the next year or so for you with those activations. But there's only so much time we have, Sarah. There's only so much time we have. To try to get everything in one reading, that is quite difficult. If you are, if anybody is interested in a more thorough, detailed reading, we can always work together. You can go to hannahselsewhere.com. You can book with me. But for now, Sarah, thank you so much. Great. I'm so glad. I'm glad. Well, I really hope with your move that things turn out really well for you. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to be moving on to... Okay, no problem, Christar. So Christar, you're next. You're actually next. And we'll move on to yours then. And yeah, your reading will be available when you're back. All right. Let me say... Oh, okay. No problem. I have... Is it Noelani? Noelani? Is that how you pronounce your name, Noelani? I have your information here then. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. Okay. So I think for this evening, I'm going to cut it here. So we've got Christar, then we have Elizabeth, then we have Becca, then we have Olivia, and then we have Noani. And from here, I'm going to say that we are fully booked for this session, but I hope to come back on Friday if that works. I hope to come back on Friday. But let me just edit this to say that we are fully booked this evening. And then I'm going to take this out. Closed. Okay. Brilliant. All right. So, Christar, let's move on to yours. So, yep. Yep. Okay. Perfect. Square. Jupiter square. So yeah, if any of you missed getting booked in for this evening, I'll be back on Friday, okay? I'll be back on Friday. Right, let's see. So I'm just going to share my screen. And that's no problem, Olivia. Your reading will be here whenever you are ready for it. All right, so Christar, you wanted to know then about this square. So there is the North Node in Pisces, and then you have the South Node in Virgo. Let me just grab annual perfections. Cool. Da-da-da. Well, it would be 32, be 11, wouldn't it? 11 and then 12th. Yeah. All right. Okay, so then let's kind of break this down for you, Christar. Let's think firstly about where you're coming from. Let's think about how the South Node being in Virgo can indicate that what you are pretty used to, your comfort zone, I suppose, is that of trying to solve problems, trying to solve the problems of siblings, for example, trying to solve problems for your peers, or being seen by teachers, by even your parents, as someone who always has the answer for everything, right? You know what you're talking about. You know how to find out information that's needed, that's necessary. And there can also be high performance, right? Being a high performer, being an overachiever at school, especially, and even feeling these high expectations, these high standards, especially growing up, especially when it came to your studies. But the thing about these earlier years is that those messages can stay with us. And what then can happen for you is that of feeling like you need to do things perfectly, or you need to speak perfectly, and you need to get things correct. There is a sense of correction with having this Virgo energy in the third, right? So, with the North Node being in Pisces, I think the North Node being in Pisces invites some mystery. I think it invites more of an intuition. It's not necessarily about you need to do this correctly and it needs to be all matter of fact and it needs to be to the T and to the book or by the rules, whatever. It's more about feeling and depth and emotion and knowing when to let go as well, knowing when to surrender, even surrendering when it comes to subject matters that are much more abstract. And I can't help but think that you're already on this path, right? Because let's think about the question, Christar. You were asking about this Jupiter square between the nodes and what that can indicate. But you're also further asking about the past life stuff, right? And what this can suggest in terms of, what do you need to rectify from a past life? Now, that is not my, how do I say, my area of expertise. I'm not I can't remember the terminology for past life professionals, but I'm not that. However, what I can tell you is that when it comes to Pisces, Pisces is linked to these questions. Like Pisces asks these questions. Pisces goes beyond, and Pisces seeks something else further out. Pisces is tied to the psychic realm, to other worlds, so to speak, to other dimensions. And then with Jupiter as well being a part of this, what's Jupiter? Jupiter's a seeker. Jupiter is a truth seeker, especially. Jupiter wants to know, especially with Jupiter being in this Mercury decan for you. It's like you want to know, you want to unravel the truth, to unravel the secrets of the universe. I actually think that you're highly, highly interested in subjects like ancient civilizations, for example, right? Spiritual subjects. Maybe you're someone who enjoys watching Gaia TV. That's quite a popular spiritual network. Or maybe you're someone who enjoys getting a tarot reading every month or every few months, or you just have this fascination, this fascination in the unknown, and this real curiosity that seems to be never ending. So, to bring this back to the question, I think that the Jupiter in Gemini is actually a bit of a, I would say, a useful tool. I think having Jupiter in Gemini has helped you being able to even find a bit of balance in this nodal axis, to find a bit of, okay, I'm taking a little bit from my South Node in Virgo with logic and reason, but I'm also taking a little bit from my North Node in Pisces, and I'm trying to not necessarily use logic so much, and it's more about a feeling. It's more about my intuition and how that's guiding me from within. And perhaps Pisces season, keep in mind that this Pisces stellium has been transiting your ninth house, Christar. Perhaps Pisces season has been a season of much study and research, and even just diving more into your beliefs and your spiritual values, etc. And let's even think about it this way. Jupiter would be the ruler of your North Node, and then it's in Gemini in the 12th house. The 12th house is usually the house of Pisces, right? So to me, it's just like you possess just this endlessness when it comes to your curiosity. And I think as well that you have this searching within quality to you as well. You're willing to ask the bigger questions, right? You're willing to go beyond. I even see this as you potentially like sharing with others, teaching others. And here's the thing about it is Jupiter is going to be entering Gemini come June 2024 and will be there for a whole year. So you're going to experience your Jupiter return. So that's exciting. I mean, that could be where there's a whole new cycle being ushered in, right? A whole new cycle to do with your spiritual practices and values. And new opportunities are upon the horizon for you as well, Christar. And these opportunities, I think, are going to be extra like personal. Maybe opportunities to do with your purpose, to do with the ways that you communicate and how you connect, how you share information with others. Because Sun, the secondary progressed Sun, and Mercury are both there in Gemini as well. But the last thing I want to mention for you is let's think about Mercury. Mercury is in Taurus, and your Sun is in Taurus. Venus is in Taurus, right? So there's also this calming quality to you. There is this sort of solid presence that you possess, and you're patient when it comes to learning new subjects. I think throughout your life, you have certainly gotten to a point where you're more comfortable in your own skin. You're more comfortable in the ways that you communicate, and you don't feel the need to rush, so to speak. And I think that stellium in Taurus even sort of highlights just how much you have developed with respect to the South Node in Virgo stuff as well, right? Where you've been able to maybe address any sort of perfectionist parts of yourself and to be practical about such things, to be like realistic with yourself and to come from a place of greater self-worth and inner security as well. Okay, so that was yours, Christar. Yeah, so evolutionary astrologers would talk about past lives. I think I was more so thinking about, is it a past life regression Is that it? You go to visit someone who like knows about past lives? Is that the past life regression? The method is used to uses hypnosis to recover what practitioners believe are memories of past lives or incarnations. But yes, there are people who are professionally trained within those areas, but I am not. Okay, so we're going to move on to Elizabeth. Da-da-da. Okay. All right. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your question. Let's have a look at your chart. And then, like I say, I will be back on Friday for another reading session. Hello to Amanda. Hello. And oh, Sorsha, it's okay. Hello, Amanda. Hello, Save Rock and Roll. So I haven't decided yet. It could either be 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. I might go for 6 p.m. On Friday. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen for Elizabeth. And Christar, if you're watching, I really hope that you find your reading to be helpful. Hope I answered your question okay, and you got something from it. Okay, so Elizabeth. Let's see. It's 20. Okay. And five. So then that would be 26. Yeah. All right. So, Elizabeth, you want to know about love. You say that you spend a lot of time healing, learning about what you want in a partner and trying to find someone, but no luck. Okay. So, what I find interesting about this is, well, we want to think of firstly about the fifth house. So the 5th house looks at love. Okay, it rules romance. It can tell us something about our romantic relationships. But you see, you've got Capricorn, which is ruling the 5th house. And Capricorn tends to look more at the long term. Capricorn is a sign in our chart that can show us where we can experience hardships, setbacks, we can experience delays. So this could very well indicate some delays, right? Delays when it comes to love. But at the same time, what this also suggests is that you are looking for something committed, mature, and responsible. Someone who can showcase these responsible qualities. You're not for messing around. And this to me shows just how mature you are when it comes to love and partnership, right? Because you said there that you spent a lot of time healing and learning about what you want in a partner. I mean, that to me suggests that you have such a self-awareness about you, right? You're willing to look within yourself and think about what you want. And how fascinating, because Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, the ruler for 5th, that's in Aries. It's also conjunct the sun there, okay? So your sun is in Aries. It's going to be your birthday soon as well, of course. Happy birthday to you. But yeah, Saturn here in Aries can suggest that you can be quite grown up, if you will, when it comes to what you want. But this energy is also in the 8th house. So what this is also suggesting is that there's much transformation and there's much psychoanalysis happening. There's a lot of this desire to want to look deep within yourself to identify any limits that hold you back in life, to work with the unconscious. And even with Mercury being retrograde in Aries in the 8th house, this further adds to your reflective, I suppose, the part of you that can be reflective and that wants to know more and wants to dig deeper. So we can see these qualities, right? However, Chiron has been transiting your 8th house. And Chiron is this wounded healer. Chiron has, I think, been showcasing potential wounds, rejections, fears, possible neglect, feeling shut out, feeling even like it's hard to assert yourself, feeling like it's hard to push yourself forward. And there is the healing in this. Even the North Node right now is there with Chiron. And I would say that they're quite close to Mercury for you. So I think this is pointing toward just the amount of growth that's going on more beneath the surface. And it's something that's going to continue, actually, because Chiron's going to continue through the sign of Aries over the next couple of years. And then boom, your Saturn return will also come, Elizabeth. So you're still becoming, if you will. You're still growing, you're still developing. And there's a lot that's going to continue to sort of emerge from within you. And there are these transformations that will continue to happen when it comes to this healing, right? Healing to do with independence, healing to do with courage, healing to do with bravery, and so on. Your identity, how things are just going to be so massively reshaped for you, which actually can be super exciting and inspiring. Looking at your personal power, But of course, this is also about the relationship stuff, isn't it? Because Saturn is the ruler of the fifth house for you. So, oh, and also let's throw into this the secondary progress Venus is in Aries. So I just think that this is more about a slow and steady burn. This isn't something, how do I say, it's not something that can be rushed. It's not something that, you know, that you're gonna be seeking for a while and then things are just gonna happen. I think this is even just highlighting staying with this energy in a way and seeing where it goes, and maybe trying not necessarily to like come from a place of pushing so much. And it's more about being sensitive. It's more about the inner work that is continuing to unfold for you. But you see, what I also wanted to mention, here's the thing. You will be turning sorry, let me just double check dates here. You will be turning 26. And the solar return for you from 2024 until 2025, this is where we're going to notice a stellium in Aries in the fifth house. Okay. There's going to be so much Aries in the fifth house throughout your 26th year. And to me, it's like it is suggesting that this go time. Let's even throw into the mix the eclipses, right? The eclipses that are happening in Aries and Libra. But so I think these eclipses add to these activation points. But the fifth house stellium, I think, is highlighting the potentialities of romance and things moving at a much quicker speed than what you anticipated. And I think as well, a part of this is just even to surrender. To surrender. The reason why I'm saying this is because Mars, which is the dispositor of all of that Aries energy in the fifth house for you throughout your 26th year, that's in Pisces. And Pisces is so much about surrender. Let me tell you, Pisces season is such a blessing, but so annoying for people with Aries energy. Let me just say. It's such a blessing because what we learn from Pisces is that there's so much that we cannot control, and nor should we try to control. And that no matter how much we try to push and insist on things going our way, life has a way of showing us that it's not the right time. And it's just about going, hey, you know what? God, universe, creator, I'm trusting this process. Take me. Like, take me where you need me to go. So I do see for you here, Elizabeth, a huge emphasis on romance and love, right? Because that's stellium in the fifth house for you. But it is, I think, a part of it that's saying, just see where this goes. Even the moon will be in Cancer in the eighth house, suggesting great emotional intensity and intimacy and depth, all these things that you're going to be longing for. Oh, that can be quite passionate and very emotional. So that is yours, Elizabeth. There's more I could say. There's always more I could say when it comes to everyone's readings, but there's only so much time we have, right? Thank you so much. Rachel, hello, hi. Oh, okay. So you're saying Roy's being responsible, yeah. Yes, that is very true. It is. Yeah, it's also transiting your Venus and Jupiter as well. So that's adding to the responsibility piece and the commitment. But yeah, still, Saturn says slow and steady, right? Just keep at it, show patience, be dedicated. And Pisces says trust, trust this process. Okay, so Becca, we're moving on to you. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So I'm just sharing my screen. Thank you so much to you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen for you, Becca. So you want to know about the North Node conjunct with Venus, Moon, Mercury, and you also have Black Moon and Lilith then in the 10th. Okay. I'll grab that. I'll add that in. Okay, I see it now. All right. Okay, so career focus on life with those energies. Okay, yeah, different ideas. Okay. Thank you very, very much, Becca. All right. So I am going to check annual perfections. Okay. And then, right. So the first thing I want to mention for you, what I feel the need to mention is the fact that eclipses are going to be opening in the signs of Pisces and Virgo this year. Well, Pisces will open them. Let me see. Pisces will open them in September during Virgo season. So why is this significant? Well, because this suggests that essentially those planets that you have in your 11th house here, Becca, they are going to be activated. So we're going to notice here significant shifts and changes when it comes to what? When it comes to things like any companies you're a part of, any organizations you're a part of, any teams you run. I think here that, well, as you were saying, there's the service piece to this, right? So being in these roles, continuously being in roles of service, actually, where you're showing up time and time again for people within the group or customers. You're helping out guests, you're helping out people who have queries, you're answering their questions, you're being very thorough in answering their questions. You want to help, you want to assist them, right? You want to help solve problems for people. I mean, Mercury here, right on the midheaven, suggests that your career, right? You're asking about career. You were, let me see here. Let me see. You were asking about, yeah, career focus. So I think it is largely about how it is that you help guide people. There's something about being a practical guide, being a practical mentor, but it's also how you refine those skills and how you narrow things down to the smallest sort of like detail where you can find a niche. I think this is a big part of having so much Virgo in the 11th. It's like, what is your niche? Now, it is interesting because what you're suggesting here and what you're saying is that can be actually challenging for you because there's just so many ideas. It's like you want to do this and then you want to do this, right? There's that mutable quality to Virgo, isn't there? There's that mutable quality where there's change, there's flexibility, you want to do all the things. But I think what this is further suggesting is that this is about actually having that experience, allowing yourself to have that experience, to, I suppose, in a way, to be able to experiment a bit, to be able to sort of try your hand at different things and to see, like, does this work? How does this suit me? Virgo rules the digestive system, right? And it's largely about how things are processed in the body and what is good for the body, what can stay, what's absorbed in like a useful, healthy way, but what is waste, what is to be removed, what isn't like good for the body. So imagine this sort of process, if you will, when it comes to your career path. And I would even say with this to try and not be so like hard on yourself, to not like, to me, it sort of seems like there's a pressure. Like there's a lot of pressure that you put on yourself to like have the answer now and to get things right the first time. Stay with me here. We also notice in your chart that Saturn is in Aries and it's retrograde in the 6th house, right? So the 6th house looks at service, it looks at work, doesn't it? So your Saturn return will not be for a good few years, Becca. But I think this is suggesting the long haul, the potential limitations and delays to do with work, but thinking about work along the lines of leadership and being decisive, like being sort of more sure about what you want. The North Node and Chiron are both in Aries right now, transiting your 6th house. So maybe you are feeling, like I was saying, that there's the pressure. It's like the pressure to sort of know, to push, to get the job done, to be somewhat mature and responsible about what you want out of life and what direction to take and everything. There is that drive, right? There is that kind of that will. But then we also notice as well that the South Node is in Libra and then Mars is opposing Saturn and then Chiron is there. So I just think there's also a bit of this is where we can maybe notice more of the indecision too, right? There's this sort of hemming and hawing, weighing out your options, but trying not to, how do I say, trying not to come at this from a place of like lack or from a place of frustration or feeling like you must, or even fearing that if you don't, you're going to fall behind or you can't keep up with other people. We could see this sort of manifestation of this opposition between Saturn in Aries and then the Mars influence in Libra. But I also want to mention with this that this can be a good opportunity for you to address any healing, with Chiron conjunct Mars. It's like, even with the South Node as well, which would have been more strong, it would have been in a more stronger position last year, but there's something about letting go here, release. There's something about shedding. And there's also something about your own spiritual healing that's unfolding to do with the likes of making decisions, or to do with how it is that you assert yourself, how it is that you take action. Are there any insecurities there? Are there any past rejections you've experienced there? Is it that there's a subconscious push or desire to want to prove yourself to certain people who said X, Y, and Z? We even notice with Venus right there with Black Moon Lilith, both are 15 degrees. And it's like that part of it where there's the outcast element, right? There's the shame, the judgment. But here's the thing, the North Node as well in Virgo is further highlighting just the importance of you coming from a place of, no, I know my worth. I am secure from within. I know what I'm doing. And there is also more to the healing journey in this way. But the experiment thing. The last thing I want to mention for you, right? Well, one more thing just to do with Virgo. I do see this as you really striving to make a difference. I think that matters to you. I think what matters to you a lot is making a difference to your communities, is doing the genuine thing, is doing the right thing. And it's more so coming from a place of really wanting to help others and not sort of giving into any temptations, anything that sways you off your path. Now, with the experiment stuff, Sun in Leo, opposite this Uranus in Aquarius. I think that there is a part of you that wants to be able to sort of experiment, to innovate, to play around with new ideas. And I think that that is sort of the trajectory that you're following, right? I think the Sun here in the 10th house in Leo, it's very much about leadership. It's very much about you standing in your power and being confident in yourself, confident about your decisions, confident about what you're doing in the world, confident about your position, your role within society in this regard. But I think as well, it's welcoming this other part of you that can just go, hey, this is unpredictable. Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a go. Just, yeah, I think all that Virgo energy could just be where things are just so, it needs to be perfect. Things need to be perfect. Things need to be so correct. And I think that can often be so overpowering to such a point where then you don't give yourself that opportunity to explore other avenues. And it's just like, why not play around? Why not play around with other ideas at the same time? And who knows, where you'll be directed, where you'll be guided along your path. Okay, so that was for yours, Becca. Oh, hold on. Let me see. 5th of August, 1997, 2:50 p.m. Just want to double check with you. Sorry, I'm only seeing your messages now, Becca. Oh. But yeah, 5th of August. Yes, it's whole sign, you see. Do you use a different one? Do you use Placidus? I hope it's okay that I use whole sign. It's usually just what I use. But you can gain information from any system. Maybe that offered you a different perspective, maybe? Okay. Well, I'm glad. Perfect. I hope it resonated. Good. Yay! Well, thank you so much for booking, Becca. Thank you again, and I really hope that you find it to be helpful. Okay, so Olivia, and then Noani will be last. Okay, Olivia, let's move on to yours. So thank you very much for everyone who's booked this evening. I will be back on Friday, so I hope to see you there. If you did miss it, I will be back. Oh, great, Becca. Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you for your feedback, and I'm glad to hear it. Right, so Olivia. Right, Olivia, you want to know about some transits coming up. Okay, let's have a look. Let me just grab some information. Okay, that would be here, 23. All right. So, more so, you want to know about March. Right. So, with March, we have, all right, so Mercury is going to be entering Aries on the 9th of March. We also have a new moon in Pisces on the 10th of March. And Venus will also enter Pisces on the 11th. We also have the Sun moving into Aries on the 19th, and then Mars entering Pisces on the 22nd. And then all of this is leading up to the lunar eclipse in Libra on the 25th. So for you, then, Olivia, this essentially means that there are planets that will build in your eighth house. Keep in mind that the North Node and Chiron are there in your eighth. And then there are also currently planets in the seventh house for you, but more are to come. Right. So let's try and break this down whilst trying to still give you plenty of information. All right. So the way I see this is currently for you, there does seem to be a big focus on how it is that you show up within your relationships, because we have all of these planets in Pisces across from you in the seventh house. I think that this is highlighting that there is a lot that you cannot actually see right now behind the scenes. There's a lot going on that is actually outside of your control right now. This could be work related stuff. This could be even things to do with getting information back from an employer, from a client. This could also be limitations to do with customers and clients as well, where perhaps you're just finding it difficult to see the progress, to see significant changes and shifts right now. because of course Saturn is suggesting delays. Saturn is highlighting some type of resistance. And what we also want to mention here is how the North Node and Chiron have been in your 8th house. Now, you may not have any like personal planets in Aries, right? Making any sort of significant aspects here. But we do notice here that, so let's see, you have Pluto. Well, you actually have Chiron at 17 degrees in Sagittarius. Pluto is 11 degrees there in Sagittarius in the 4th. And then we also see here that you've got the midheaven at 14 degrees. Okay, so I think that there is some type of like a desire when it comes to your career path and wanting information quick, wanting to hear back, wanting to know, okay, well, what am I to do now? Of course, you have Jupiter retrograde and the moon also in Gemini. So I do think that when it comes to your professional life, you tend to dabble in a few things. I think that you can keep yourself pretty flexible, pretty open to new opportunities. But I do think that you prefer to be mentally stimulated. But that, I think the sort of aspects there to Aries is that of, okay, what is the next step for me? Of course, with the North Node as well. But maybe this is also about matters related to investments, right? Shared resources, waiting for a certain call when it comes to these things, or waiting for a certain plan of action of what the next step is. But I think this is also quite a healing time for you, because with Chiron and Pluto being there in Sagittarius in the 4th, I think you're going through a lot emotionally. And then there's a lot of the sort of family related stuff that's happening. Family wounds, perhaps to do with religion, beliefs, to do with possibly moving, relocating, even experiencing some type of power struggles right now, or feeling a bit like, where do I go from here? What is my direction? What is my path here? But here's the thing. Like I said, planets are about to gather in the sign of Aries, personal planets. So this Mercury's going to go, the sun's going to go. Eventually Venus will go in a while, but those influences then mixed in with the fact that, you know, the lunar eclipse is going to happen. I think this is going to point toward this type of renewal, a renewal of self, a renewal of your vitality, a renewal of your ego, having this go-getter spirit, wanting to actually move things along and actually getting the information that you've been waiting for as well. Something to do with leadership, something to do with your passions, having a new, like this new sense of freedom and confidence in the next step. And as we see here, you know, as the lunar eclipse begins to happen, that's going to take place on your Mars, and that's going to be on the 25th of March. So that's going to be very significant for you, because that's going to indicate then a mighty powerful release or letting go, a shedding to do with your personal resources, to do with your talents and your skills, and how these things are related to partnership, negotiation, compromise. Maybe this is the very moving along thing that you've been waiting for, in terms of this social quality, right? In terms of teamwork, realizing that you need other people to assist you. And maybe as well, you're going to reap significant rewards when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your passions, and even thinking about how you can assert yourself in more subtle ways and using those ways to your benefit. But things are going to be illuminated essentially for you by the end of March, Olivia. Now, this is not to say that things are just going to happen like overnight, but I just think that matters are going to be felt. you can sense that there is that change upon the horizon. And we also want to say here that with Venus and Mars going to enter Pisces over the next few weeks, well, that energy I think is going to highlight more of the partnership stuff and how it is that you can negotiate in this, I suppose, empathetic way, being able to maybe empathize with customers or clients, being able to recognize, sort of the exchange in more subtle ways. And perhaps there will be more of a push, like a fuel here as well, in terms of service and helping and support, people coming along maybe and assisting you, wanting to sort of give in this way, or maybe even thinking about charity or being really hospitable. But yeah, I would say that partnerships are certainly going to be like I would say, a notable area to pay attention to throughout March. And then even coming into April, the solar eclipse is going to happen in Aries as well. So there's going to be that big stellium in your 8th house. So significant new chapters for you being ushered in, Olivia, to do with intimacy, to do with trust, emotional bonding. And as I was suggesting earlier as well, we're going to notice then these significant new chapters being ushered in with respect to the investment stuff, okay, and the sharing of resources and goods, which of course can be enterprising and business related. Indeed, sales could be a big part of this, marketing could be a big part of this because of the Gemini energy. But yeah, one more thing, just one more thing, is your Jupiter return is coming up, Olivia. Jupiter is going to enter Gemini June 2024. It will be there for the next year. So that is worth paying attention to. But of course, there's only so much time we have in one reading. But thank you so much, Olivia. I hope that you find your reading to be helpful. But that's just a little glimpse into March coming into April. Right. So, Noani, we're going to look at your chart lastly. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Olivia, thank you so much. Thank you for your feedback. I hope you find it to be helpful. Thank you. I wish you all the best. Okay, so okay, yep. Okay, no problem. Noani? Oh, so sorry. Noilani. Noilani, then is how you pronounce your name? Noilani? Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. So this is more, you want to know about progressions for you? Hello, Kiv. Hello. I'm just double checking your birth information. Okay. All right. Oh, brilliant, Rachel. Hope you can make it on Friday. Okay, so regarding progress chart, upcoming timing for the year. You just moved from a progressed Aries to progressed Taurus and feel the big change in the season. Looking for some insight. Just want to say quickly, Misty, who submitted payment, just to make it clear, thank you for submitting payment for booking a reading. Just to make it clear, this is the last reading I'm doing this evening, but I am going to be back on Friday. Okay, I'll be back on Friday. So with the payment, I can do it on Friday then. Okay. If that's okay with you, let me know. If that's not okay with you, I will refund you right now. It's just to let you know that. Right. So, Noilani, you want to know then about the secondary progressions. Right, so we see here that the secondary progressed ascendant is right there at 29 degrees. And then it's just about to move into Taurus. All right, if I just I'm going to grab information for you. Go here. Oh. And then if I grab this, just getting a few timing tools. Okay. Okay. 0 degrees. Time of birth, Noilani, we say the time of birth, just time of birth, 11:16 p.m. Do you use astro.com? Definitely 11:16 p.m. And do you use astro.com? I mean, if there's a different chart generator you use, do you maybe use AstroSeek? Just Just trying to figure out. Used Astro Gold. Okay. It's just on this particular chart generator, if I mean, it says they're 29 degrees Aries based on 11:16 p.m. Let's see. Let me. I can type it into Astro Gold on my end as well. Let me see. Timings. Thank you for your patience. Let's see. Is that definitely PM? Yeah, PM. And okay. Just on Astro Gold, I'm trying to find progressed charts. Maybe I need to pay for that. I'm just trying to find the option for it because I usually use astro.com. Oh, here we go. Secondary progressions for okay. Yeah. Let me see. Where are you, Noilani? Yeah. The location. Okay. Okay. Well, maybe if you have the chart, do you just want to send me the chart and I can read that chart? Because it's something that it's a special sort of request that you have, Like I say, I usually use astro.com. Let me see. Subsidiary, secondary progressions. Location. Okay, so your location, let me go back up. Thank you for your patience. I think I'm just going to stick to astro.com from now on. Let's see. And that's place. Is that us? Kauai. Where? Hold on. Okay. Right. Okay, I get it. It's in Hawaii as well. Okay. I get it. Ah, there we go. That should be it. That has to be it. Go. Oh, okay, I have it. I have it. Oh, and you also sent me a copy of it. Let me just see if mine aligns with what you have. I'm just going to use the chart that you sent me then. All right. If that is what you prefer, we will go for that. Let's do that. Go here. Yep. So I'm just going to come out of this then. Ooh, a different system. You know, all about how you update these things. Just gotta go with it. Gotta go with it. Right, let's see. Where are we? Thank you for your patience, Noilani. And thank you for sending me the chart that you would like me to read. Right. So, I'm going to share my screen. So you said North Node in the 11th. There was a question as well. Let me see. Was there not a question as well that you asked up further? I think it was more about the 11th house for you. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you again. All right, so let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. Right, so we're thinking about this from the perspective of this being a secondary progressed chart. Right. So I want to think about how the ascendant is now in Taurus, right? And we also want to think about how in your natal chart, you know, you've got Taurus in the 3rd. Of course, you have a Pisces rising in the natal chart. And then Mars is also there in Taurus in the 3rd. So I feel as if this could be something quite impactful when it comes to how you educate and how you teach, right? And what I also wanted to mention is, well, what stood out to me? Let me just grab, there's just a few different charts that I have in front of me. What stood out to me about, so your next birthday is the 1st of July. And within the solar return chart, then from the 1st of July onwards, there is this Sagittarius rising that you'll experience. And then Jupiter will also be in Gemini opposite in the 7th house. So Jupiter would be the chart ruler then. So I feel as if this information combined with the other stuff, it just seems as if your path will change in terms of branching out, in terms of broadening your horizons. But I think if we consider the secondary progressions, this is also about more of a slow and steadiness. It's more about finding your place, finding, somewhere where you feel the most comfortable and the most secure. And this is a whole new sort of big chapter. It is more about slowing down. It's more about taking your time. And what I further want to say about this is we think about the secondary progress Venus there, which is in Leo, of course, the ruler in this way when it comes to Taurus. Even the Sun and Mercury are in Leo. Chiron is also there. So there's this stellium, this cluster of planets basically in Leo in the 4th house, just highlighting this importance of home and connecting with yourself, possibly connecting with the earth, because Taurus being a part of it as well. But there are these themes of nature and connection, and also awakening the inner child, exploring your inner child, being creative, being artistic, finding some type of artistic outlet, but perhaps doing so within your home, within your own sort of living situation, in your environment, in your safe space, essentially. So I want to go back over. I want to think about let's think about how in this solar return chart again, we want to go back to that. So Leo is in the 9th house actually in this solar return chart. So this is also where we're possibly noticing some significant shifts then, to do with the likes of teaching and how maybe branching out and expanding can be sort of supportive with the inner child healing stuff. And what I also want to mention is that in your natal chart, right, you have the moon. Natally, you have the moon in Leo. And you also have Mercury. Mercury in Leo, plus you have Chiron in Leo. So already it's like your work is so much about play. It's so much about enjoying, right? Teaching other people how to enjoy life, how to welcome creativity, how to be free in this way. We even think about how the midheaven is in Sagittarius. And I think with Jupiter also being the ruler of the midheaven there, that's in Virgo. So you're also going to show people in practical, useful ways how to connect with themselves. This is very much about healing, medicine. This is about the body, the mind, body connection. Jupiter is even the chart ruler for you there. With Jupiter, of course, being in Virgo, and then you've got the Pisces rising. But again, the Taurus sort of new chapter is welcoming in this greater security and greater healing as well, and having like a stable presence, being a stable supportive presence for people that you're educating, and being slow in your position as well, like having a slow a slowness to you where people feel invited. They feel your presence. They feel that what you're delivering is intentional. And it's about gradual steps, gradual change. So this is quite a different energy, isn't it, to the Aries, with the secondary progressed Aries, which was a lot faster and was a lot more about a push, like this pushing forward energy. But the Taurus is coming along and it's inviting more of a steady, keep going, consistency, dependable energy. Now, the North Node, then, let's talk about the North Node. So that's in Capricorn. This I feel is interesting because, you were saying, was it you were saying about like a non-profit organization there? Um, this non-profit organization for you. So I'm wondering how I think that this points toward the sort of structured part of it, the organized part of it, where you show this discipline, you show this dedication toward a particular company, organization, firm, whatever it may be. Like I was saying throughout the previous readings, the 11th house can look at organizations. So to me, with Neptune and Uranus also being there, it's more so about independence as well and forging your own path, but coming from a place of generosity. Even Neptune would be the other chart ruler in this regard for you. So it's really quite it's like a healing energy. It's a thoughtful energy, wanting to assist others, wanting to really give back, to be charitable, even thinking about certain causes or movements you're a part of, charities that you've saved for, petitions you've signed, these types of things that you've stood up for as well. And perhaps a lot of it, has to do with the people, has to do with helping others. And as well, I want to mention that the South Node would be in Cancer, and you also have the Sun and Venus in Cancer. Plus, it's interesting because the Sun and Venus seem to be the top of this kite for you. And so this aspect pattern that you have, which I feel it's highlighting your gifts and your talents to do with nurturing, being a caregiver, being soothing, like having this soothing presence, this emotional, empathetic presence to you, being so caring and supportive, especially if it is, towards any children that you have or toward creative projects that you're working on. But of course, with the South Node also being there, it's also highlighting whenever you can stay too much within your comfort zone in this regard as well, and how you can maybe strive for a bit of, okay, I'm going to welcome a bit of challenge in my life. I'm going to assert myself into something bigger, like something bigger than just my own personal creations, maybe even taking those personal creations and sort of giving them out, right? Wanting to share with the world. And yes, of course, the other thing about it is I've been talking about the travel stuff. And as you did ever so mention there, of course, with annual perfections, you're going to be 32 on your next birthday. So the ninth house is going to be activated for you throughout your 32nd year. You've got Scorpio in the ninth. You've got Pluto retrograde as well there too. So I think that within itself is going to highlight just such a transformative year through travel. And also, I would say, going much deeper with people spiritually as a teacher. And the last thing I want to mention, of course, is that with the secondary progressed ascendant being in Taurus, this would then mean the secondary progressed descendant is in Scorpio. So that sort of, to me, it's like not only will you be traveling and having these transformative experiences, and then also teaching from this place, it's also about how you collaborate with people in this way too. And those bonds, those one-on-one bonds that you're going to really create with others. Okay, so Noilani, that was yours. Thank you so much. Thank you for you said non-profits are child of community now. Interesting. Thank you for sending me through your chart. Now, like I say, I do use astro.com, and that is the chart generator that I use. But that, of course, is what you requested. That is what you wanted. So yeah, that was more so focusing on that Taurus energy and how that even fits in with the rest of your chart. So thank you, Noilani. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for sending me through your chart as well. Oh, brilliant. Oh, amazing, Noilani. Thank you so much for your feedback and for booking today. I really hope that you got the most out of your experience. And you also taught me something as well. You know, you taught me more about Astro Gold. I do like using Astro Gold, for the new moon, full moon presentations because I like the layout of Astro Gold. But I do prefer reading from astro.com. It's interesting how we know what we like, we know what generators we prefer as astrologers and as students of astrology. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for being here today. It has been a pleasure reading for you. And like I said, I will be back on Friday. So make sure to tune in. And if you're interested in booking reading, you can do so. One last thing I want to say to Misty. If Misty is in the audience, if you're hearing this right now, Misty, please let me know if you would like me to refund you the money for this evening, or I can always keep the information. I can keep it for Friday, and then you will be booked in for Friday's session. Thank you all so much, and stay tuned as I post about this Friday. Thank you, Sorsha, and I hope you get sorted with everything. All right, everyone, have a lovely evening. Oh, is that you, Misty? Is that you saying let's do Friday? Or is it? I'm not sure. Oh dear. Dear. And thank you, Noella. No, sorry, Noilani. Sorry. I'm a bit tired at this point. I'm a bit like, oh, I'm sleepy. Ah, and yes, let me see. Yes, okay, no problem. Right, I'm gonna get some rest, and I hope you also have some rest. I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.